Hey everybody, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and this video I want to talk to you guys about how I organize my preschool day. I am currently teaching 6 preschool students on a 3-day-a-week basis, and each day is about 2.5 hours. So I wanted to kind of go through a typical preschool schedule so that if you are having little ones that you're teaching in your home, whether they're your own little ones or if you've kind of trying to consider opening a preschool but you're not exactly sure where to start, then hopefully some of these ideas will be helpful for you. So if you're interested in this kind of video, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's talk about preschool. So the first thing that comes to mind with preschool is obviously you need to decide what it is you're going to be doing with these kids. So that's what this video is going to be about, is I'm just going to show you how I organize and plan for a typical preschool day. And it starts for me with planning for the month, or I plan each semester at a time. So I do from August until December, and then I plan January until May. So let me flip the camera around and show you some of these pages of how I organize my preschool planning, okay? Okay, so the first thing here is my semester planning schedule, and I just do this on like a Word document. This is just your typical table that I've made, and each of the weeks are here starting in October, and then it goes until December. This particular school year, I started in October since I had a baby in the fall, so I started a little bit later than usual. I write down what the theme of the day is going to be. I just write down what our Bible discussion is going to be, because in my preschool, we do talk about just kind of character traits and that sort of thing. Any scriptures that we're memorizing or songs that we're going to be learning. Here are some books that I want to either check out at the library, or if I have them on hand or I want to buy them or something like that. Here's some books that we're reading. This is our science and history section, so if we're going to be learning anything in that, and then some art ideas. So I just kind of like brainstorm all of this. It's not, of course, this is very easily changed. This isn't like written in stone. If I decide I want to change something, then I can. But this is kind of where we start, okay? And then, let's see if I can get this off. Okay, and then we go to this page. This is my daily schedule for each of the students. So I kind of go through each of the days and I write down, this is our times, obviously, and kind of what it is that we're going to be doing for each of the days of the week. So we have circle time first, then we have music time. We work on our notebooks, our letter notebooks. My kids always have recess for 15 minutes. We work on our writing folders. These are our centers that we do. Obviously, this particular day, I made a bunch of changes, so that's why it's all crossed off. We have a PE time, and then story comprehension, which is just like reading time, and then we clean up and sing songs, okay? And then on the bottom here, I just leave it blank if I have any additional notes. Sometimes like I'll put a website of like where I want the free printable for something that we did in our centers. So this is kind of a 3-day thing, and this was working really well for a long time. Now that I have my actual hours memorized, because we've been doing this for so long, I've switched my planning into more of a monthly table, and I've just been writing down the activities that we're going to be doing each of the days for the whole month. And this actually just is to save paper, so I don't have to be printing off one sheet per week. And it helps me to make sure that I get everything in, especially in the month of December. There's lots of fun crafts and activities and stuff that I want to do. So I just have to make sure that they all fit on here, whereas in the weekly layout, I just didn't feel like I could see it at a glance as well. So this is just another way that you can do it. Again, this is just made on Microsoft Word. This is just your typical table. I wrote the days of the week that we have our school days on the top, and then each of the boxes on the bottom there. We only have 3 weeks in December because this week is Christmas break. So that's why this one down here is empty. Okay, so now that you have everything planned, you have your themes kind of laid out on a yearly basis, and you've got the letters that you're going to do each week or whatever. A pretty popular preschool, theme is to have the letters of the week program. I don't particularly do that where we everything that we study has to do with that particular letter. I more teach a letter a week, and we kind of have a learning center for that letter, but our activities are kind of more broad in their topics. So sometimes we'll be doing winter in addition to learning the letter N or learning the letter B. B doesn't have a wintry word associated with it. That's just common knowledge. And so most of the time we're just learning the letter B, and we're doing a lot of like winter themed activities. And I'll explain that a little bit as we get, as I start talking about our weeks, okay? So kind of looking at, where did I put this? Okay, kind of looking at our schedule. The first thing that my kids do when they show up to class is a reading time. And this allows for kind of the late comers to come and the early people to come early, and you don't have to necessarily be starting right on time. I really like that. It's just a very loose beginning schedule because I do have some students that tend to show up a little bit later, and I want to make sure that everybody's here and ready to learn when I'm ready to learn, or when I'm ready to teach. So we have a reading time for the first about 5 or 10 minutes of class, and when the kids show up, I have their mats sitting out. They can sit on their mats and choose books, and I go to the library each week and just get stacks and stacks and stacks of books so that I can kind of have a good rotation. I don't have a huge library myself, partially because I don't have anywhere to store a huge library myself. So I go to my local library and borrow books from them, and it kind of also gives me the opportunity to teach my students that we respect books and we're kind to books, because I'm much more aware of them being that they are library books. And if I owned them personally, I probably could see myself just shrugging off, you know, the taking care of them type of a thing. So anyway, that's what we do at the beginning of the day. And then we have our circle time. Circle time involves the day of the week. We recite our alphabet. We have like a little colors, I don't know, quiz, I guess you could say, and whoever's the helper of the day points to different colors, and the whole class responds what color they're pointing to. We talk about the weather, we talk about the days of the week, and we talk about our letter of the week that we're talking about. I sometimes will have a whiteboard just for each of the students, and we'll practice writing the letter, or we'll practice writing sight words. If they're my 5-year-olds, I try to get them to write sight words. If they're the 3-year-olds, then I just have them draw straight lines, or to practice writing whatever the letter of the week is for that week. So that kind of is my circle time, which goes for another 15 minutes. So now it's usually about 9:30, because my classes go from 9 to 11:30, if that helps you kind of gauge time frames. So for the next 15 minutes, we have a lesson time, and this varies in activities in all kinds of ranges. Sometimes I'll have like little flashcards that I'll kind of put around the classroom, and we'll turn the music on and do kind of like a musical chairs kind of a thing, where we just kind of go around, and then when the music stops, you stop on a letter, tell me what letter you're on. I do that with numbers as well. Sometimes I'll like do a write the room activity where there are letters kind of hidden a little bit in the classroom, and they have to find the letter, and then they write it on their chart. This is another game we like to kind of play, where what's the picture, and then they clip the cards. So we'll do like clip cards. These are letters clip cards. Sometimes I'll have numbers clip cards. Other games we play are the ones where like kids are holding a card and it says, I have the number 1, who has the number 4? And then the person with the number 4, oh, I have the number 4, who has the number 3? So we do that, and sometimes I like put whatever the theme of the month is. So like in October, we are doing, I have 4 monsters, who has 3 monsters? And in December, we're doing, I have 2 presents, who has 3 presents? I have 6 ornaments, who has whatever. So that's kind of a varying thing. Sometimes we play Feed the Monster. Sometimes we do like a Go Fish type thing. So anyway, you just look on Pinterest and find games, and there's, you know, a plethora of choices. And we usually play those types of games for about 15 minutes. Sometimes, well, anyway, I could go off on a roller coaster of different ideas. Maybe that's another video for another time. So I'll kind of try to move on. Otherwise, this video will be crazy long. So the next thing that we do after that is I have the students go write in their interactive notebooks, or their alphabet journals is what I call them. So here's one of my students' alphabet journals. And so on the first page here, this is just like a regular spiral notebook that you can get for like, 20 cents or whatever at the beginning of the school year. And I have printed off the alphabet on the first page. And each week I have the students find the letter that we're doing, and they color in the letter that we're doing that week. And then each day we kind of do a different activity each day. So we color the letter sounds, cut them out and paste them. This particular one, she was reading the words, and so we colored and put them under the right one. We write them. This one says, I can find C. And I do try to like differentiate the activities a little bit. So sometimes, like for example, the letter A, we did these little brochures. This was on a Teachers Pay Teachers account, and I had purchased those. What else do I have? This particular one is like draw a triangle with the letter T. Is T, isn't T. This one was kind of fun. This was, we were doing monsters, and so we kind of had a little monster door on M, and here's some more monsters. We were practicing writing them, big monsters and little monsters. Anyway, so each of the letters gets their own thing, and sometimes we do a different activity every day. So like this particular activity would be one day. Underneath each of these, there's a letter that, or a word that starts with the H sound. This activity would be a second day. Coloring the letter would be a third day. And since I have 3 days, then we do it 3 days a week, okay? So that's kind of how the letters work. Here's my letter D. So again, I try to do something a little bit different each day, but they do repeat because I'm not that creative. I have to search the internet and try and find different ideas of things to do so that they're a little bit different. But this particular student loves to color, so hers is very colorful, and I like that. She really does a good job at making it look really pretty, and I like that. So anyway, so we do work on our interactive notebooks. We do this for about 15 minutes. Then the students have recess. I have my students go outside during recess when the weather is nice. I require them to go outside, and mostly because it gives me a minute to kind of, you know, regroup and clean up whatever messes that we've made and that sort of thing. And then plus they can run around and get their energy out, because usually by now they just want to run around and get their energy out. So anyway, so we have recess for about 15 minutes. After recess, they come back in and we do our writing folders. This is just a regular white binder, and inside the binder I have the students practice writing their names. And then this is from Confessions of a Homeschooler, her daily notebook. And so each of the students does the page of the day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they have to color the day of the week. And then my 5-year-olds, I have them write the number. My 3-year-olds, I don't make them write the number just because I don't make them worry about their handwriting until they are 4. My 3-year-olds circle the number. My 4 and 5-year-olds write the number. We work on our weather. I made this little chart. It's not hard to do, so that we kind of keep track of the weather of the month. And then each week they get a different number that we work on. So this particular week we worked on the number 9. And on one day, we color the number and write the word. On the second day, I give them 9 stickers. So they put the stickers on their board, on their paper. And on the third day, I have them decorate the page, writing the number 9 in different like rainbow colors. So then they have the opportunity to practice penmanship. We also have done shapes as this second page. And so sometimes it was just a giant shape that we would kind of do the same thing, where one day we would color the shape, the next day we would cut out pictures that had that shape in it, that sort of thing. This particular activity, it was just color the different shapes. We had already worked on the square the week before, so this was just kind of like reiterating that topic. So this part they do every single day. And we kind of go through these 8 pages or whatever they are. And then after that, we get to this tab, and we do 1 handwriting skill a day. So this is for my 3-year-olds. Again, I don't necessarily have my 3-year-olds practice skills as much as I do my 4 and 5-year-olds in their preschool years. So this is just practicing. We did the letter N this week. Here's another example. So again, it's just kind of practicing handwriting, and they do 1 different page a day. I will show you quickly, this is my 5-year-old, one of my 5-year-old students. And it is a little bit different. As you can see, she writes her numbers here. And then her daily activities are more learning skills because she is a good writer. So by 4 and 5, I want them really to be practicing penmanship in addition to doing just learning skills as well. So these particular pages are on a Teachers Pay Teacher site. Check the description box below and I'll link that for you if you are interested in investing in those. They're called morning work, and I just print off the pages that I want my students to be learning for those days. So we do that, and then following that we do centers. And again, the centers is a whole array of different pages or activities or art or science or whatever it is that we're doing. So for example, this next week we're going to be making picture frame ornaments because it's Christmas time. We're going to be, sometimes we do like snow art, or we make, I don't know, all kinds of different things. So I call them centers because we usually have 3 or 4 very small activities. Sometimes I'll have them put together like alphabet puzzles, or it's very like hands-on manipulatives, reiterating, practicing, writing, all this kind of stuff. So we do a little math, we do a little science, we do a little English and writing and phonics and all that kind of stuff. So that's our largest portion, and it lasts for about 20 minutes. And so we do that up until 11 o'clock. So at 11 o'clock, we clean everything up, and then we start our music time / PE time. And I've just found that I don't have time to do both activities a day, so we kind of rotate. And on music days, then I'll get out our instruments. We have like shakers, and we have flutes, and we have like ribbons that they can dance with, and we have bells and all kinds of like different noisemaker instruments, and we'll sing all kinds of different songs. So right now it's Christmas time, and we're working a lot on our Christmas program, so we sing all of those songs and kind of practice rhythm and rhyming and yada, yada, yada. So we do that. On the off days, then we do PE time, and that just involves different games that encourage physical movement. So we play Simon Says or Red Light, Green Light, or we put up obstacle courses, or I'll have them like throw bean bags at different things, or I'll have them, like when it was warm outside, then we would do like relay races and that sort of thing. I have one of those big parachute whatever things that we play with. Anyway, it's mostly just an opportunity to play games and kind of encourage movement and, you know, kind of get our bodies moving. So we do that. And then at the very end of the day, then we read a story. And at the beginning of the school year, I was trying to correlate the story with whatever theme we were doing that week. But now I just pick fun stories and I read a story to them, sometimes 2 if, you know, the story is a little short. And then at the end of the story, we'll talk about it just to kind of practice that reading comprehension. And I'll ask them different questions and they'll respond. Or sometimes I'll have them like draw a picture of their favorite part of the story and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's the end of our school day. And then we kind of clean up and put everything in their backpacks, and then I send them home. So that is just kind of a very rough outline of how I run a normal preschool day. And hopefully that you can kind of pick out a couple of things that are helpful for you in organizing your preschool day. If you have one little young one, or maybe 2 or 3 little young ones in your home, it can work with a small preschool, and then it can also work with a medium-sized preschool. I haven't ever run a large preschool myself, so I can't say whether or not this format would work for them as well, although it might be able to if you have some additional helpers that can help you with like the centers, because sometimes art and little ones can get a little crazy. But anyway, if you found this helpful for yourself, then make sure you give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to my channel because I do talk a lot about school and our homeschool journey, as well as my 2018 Elevated campaign. If you haven't logged into that or checked that out, check out my video up here, and it'll explain what my Elevated campaign is, and hopefully you'll be interested in joining along these 12 challenges, 1 challenge a month, so that we can have an elevated 2018. Anyway, hopefully you've subscribed to my channel. Consider doing so if you haven't already, and make sure you have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you in another